Guys, how bad did he mess this up?
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
Like, when Chris Haynes reports this, and by the way, like, Chris Haynes was right. Like, I don't care what anybody says afterwards. That letter was written. His decision was made. He knew what he was going to do. I mean, my understanding is that it was going to come out in 15, 20 minutes afterwards anyway, which is... So when that comes out, when that report, just own it, back it up. Don't, just because you didn't get to call Utah and you had a failure in process and a breakdown in your own communications team. By the way, it wasn't just Chris who reported. Chris broke it, and then four other reporters confirmed it. So this is not just like one person who leaked it. This is everybody who knew what was going on. Just own it, because what happened, Amin, is the 5-hour delay where they were saving face and making everyone feel better, it cost them Otto Porter. It cost them valuable hours that they could have been trying to move on and move forward, and then gave them false hope, and it just made it all that much more worse.
You're saying it cost them more than just a couple 100,000 clicks on the Players Tribune website? Like, that, to me, was the one thing that they clearly lost that day. But what did he do wrong in terms of the Utah Jazz fan base? I'm not so sure he did anything like that. You know, Dennis Lindsey comes out and says that at some point there would be some adjectives I would ascribe to what went down. That's Dennis Lindsey making himself look better than Dan Gilbert, than LeBron did on the way out the door. But Gordon Hayward said all the right things in his letter that was published.
Thank you, Utah.
Yeah, it was just came out too late.
I felt like Dennis Lindsey's comments were not about Gordon Hayward leaving us.
That's
it was about, dude, just like you said, just own it and let us move on. Let us get on to other things. Shout out to Chris Haynes, though. He did have the tweet of the weekend.
Oh, my God.
The Hulk Hogan. That was a mic drop moment there. But it is interesting to see people react so violently, right, to the idea of Gordon Hayward leaving them high and dry. You know, you're wondering if Jazz fans have a right to be mad at Hayward. Well, here we pulled something from the archives when he got drafted in 2010. Take a look.
Gordon Hayward from Butler University.
Look at this. And not only did they boo him on that day, but when he became a rookie free agent off his rookie scale, he could have gotten the max. They did not offer. They said, hey, go out and get an offer and we'll match. And what ended up happening with the Charlotte Hornets, remember, the Cavaliers actually were very interested, Dave.
Absolutely.
But the Hornets were the ones that gave him the offer sheet, a 3+1, and that's why we're here today, where he is able to choose where he wants to play without fear of reprisal.
Yeah, and I understand there's people in Utah who are probably hurt because, from what I'm told, Gordon told them, I want to play with a pass-first point guard. I'd love to play with Ricky Rubio. Go out and get him. Well, they did. And Joe Ingles is my best friend. Well, they kept him. So they did the two things that Gordon told them were important to him, and they felt like they had a really good chance of keeping him because of that. But you know what? I think you know your player. Dealing with I think the Jazz should have had an inkling, should have known, should have had a feeling. I mean, I think when you go back and talk to Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they really thought they were going to keep Kevin Durant too. But the last few days, the way people act, the way things go, you get a feeling. And I think the Jazz, they understood. They understood where they were and what he was thinking about.
But, like, do we ever really know until the moment?
No.
I was hearing rumors over the weekend that, Gordon Hayward's wife really likes Miami.
Right.
And she's pushing for that to happen. And they're probably hearing that. And maybe at some point the Utah Jazz front office thought, getting those guys was the final move they could make. You had to be willing to make that move to be able to do business. The Cavs, when they were trying to get LeBron James, they had to trade away all these players so they could offer him a max contract just to be able to be in the conversation.
There's got to be a plan B, plan C to all these things.
Okay, but can we be real?
What?
Gordon Hayward's not LeBron James. Gordon Hayward's not Kevin Durant.
Well,
he was a big free agent, but it's not on the same level as those guys.
And on that note, Players Tribune, relax a bit with some of these columns. Relax. We didn't need the Kyle Lowry, I'm coming home. Just saying. Let's talk now about the East. Dave, how does Hayward's move affect Boston's chances in the East?
Well, to me, it's all about what they do to actually make the deal happen.
Right.
Who they give up. If it's a Jay Crowder or a Marcus Smart, or, if it's Avery Bradley, I think that's maybe a step backwards along with the step forward. So I have to see that play out first. I have to see if Isaiah Thomas is going to come back from the same hip injury that ended Johnny Flynn's NBA career before I'm ready to say
Syracuse.
Where did you just pull that from? That was like...
Yeah.
Johnny Flynn. That's what I think of when I think of hip injury.
Clearly, Johnny Flynn's clearly relevant in 2017. Come on.
Clearly. Yeah, but like when you look at Boston, like Jay Crowder's probably the most likely guy to move here because he plays small forward, and if you haven't noticed, Jason Tatum plays small forward, and so does Jaylen Brown, and so does Gordon Hayward, the guy that just went outside. So bye, Jay. Right? He's the guy. Remember, he criticized Boston fans for being so receptive to Gordon when he came to play at the Garden.
Maybe that's why.
Okay.
Maybe that's why.
Right. But can we break down why the Celtics even have to think about this? The salary cap was supposed to go up to $102 million. It didn't. It was more like 99. So the Celtics thought they had another $2.5 million of breathing room here to pull this off. Now, I went through this complicated series of moves, and shout out to Bobby Marks, who helped us like figure out all the moves that they have to make. But they started by renouncing Kelly Olynyk. Then they have to renounce 3 or 4 more other guys. Right. Then they have to keep their first-round draft pick from last year overseas in Europe. Then they have to trade Rozier. Then they have to trade somebody. Like, there's so many moves that they have to make just to get close to the max. And even then, they are $300,000 short. So Gordon Hayward, who's signing his max contract, could just say, you know what, let me just take a little haircut.
Yeah.
Let me just take a
we're not in that business.
Nope,
we're not in that business. You find another contract to trade into space, and then you got it. Look, it's not Gordon Hayward's job to do Danny Ainge favors. Danny Ainge said, I can give you max. There's a reason why he left Utah. There's a reason why he said no to Miami. It's because Danny Ainge said, I could give you max. And so now that's Danny Ainge's job to work around that. We have to take a commercial break, but plenty more to come on the jump.
More Syracuse references, Johnny Flynn, maybe.
The Knicks may have got rid of Phil, but what should they do with Carmelo Anthony? Ooh. Look, it's another
Syracuse reference. That's good.
We'll talk about it next on Dave McMenamin's The Jump. Welcome back. I'm Emil Hassan, along with Ramona Shelburne and Dave McMenamin. The Cavs reportedly offered Chauncey Billups below market salary for their president of basketball opt job. Sources confirmed that was part of the reason Billups turned down the offer. The typical starting salary for this position is $4 million annually. Billups was reportedly offered half that. Dave, what are the Cavs doing?
They're frustrating LeBron James. That's what they're doing. You enter into a crucial offseason when all you have guaranteed moving forward with LeBron is the 2017-2018 season. You're trying to catch what is going to go down as one of the greatest teams in basketball history. And you cut the knees off of the guy who had been leading your franchise the last 3 years in David Griffin. And you don't have anybody as a solve to replace him. It's mismanagement. It's an embarrassment. And right now, if it turns out, when we sift through the rubble of this offseason, that they ended up losing a guy like Paul George because of any, pause or any, misguidance, right? Because of the people that were in place, that's going to be egg on Dan Gilbert's face for the rest of his career.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like, a friend of mine told me, like, when you go on vacation, like, you want to stay at, like, a nice hotel, right? If you're going to go on vacation, just spend the money to stay at a nice hotel. Like, if you can't do that, then just don't go. Right. Like, just stay home and save your money so next time when you go on vacation, you can stay at a nice
friend's
place.
dinner and you just get the side salad instead of the full meal.
Like, you either can go or you can't. If you want a good GM, you got to pay for a good GM. If you want to convince Chauncey Billups to leave his sweet gig here at ESPN, where he gets to hang out with Michelle Beadle on Countdown every day, I mean, he does, he does a jump too, and he does some Sports Center with Neil and Stan. That's fun. If you want, and then he's going to take a jump and go to Cleveland and risk LeBron leaving after 1 year. You got to pay extra for that.
So that was one of the things when I said, Chauncey, don't take this job, because it's not because, they'll lowball you, but it's because the potential for these types of things to happen. Yeah. And the idea here is you're printing money with that casino next door, right? You can spend all you want, but the reason why you lost a guy like David Griffin, who, say what you will about him, the guy was a deal maker. He made things happen. So you lose him in the middle of a huge negotiation that can land you that other two-way player that LeBron needs. You lose him there because of a lowball offer, and then your replacement, you try to lowball him as well. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's also culturally, right? Like, when we talk about the Warriors and their culture, it's top to bottom. Now, the Cavs have a pretty good culture on their team.
Right.
That's LeBron James setting the tone for everybody. It's Channing and Richard and RJ, right? I mean, those guys have a culture. But it's not top to bottom.
But Chauncey feasibly would have been a good candidate.
Right.
But you didn't take care of him the way you needed to.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But staying in Cleveland, kind of, sort of, let's talk about Carmelo Anthony's future. On Monday, reports surfaced that Melo is willing to waive his no-trade clause to join either the Rockets or the Cavs. Ian Begley laid out some possible trade options, along with Bobby Marks, with the main pieces including Trevor Ariza or Kevin Love. Ramona, what should the Knicks do with Melo?
You know what? I think Phil was right in that his time in New York probably should come to an end, because it'll be better for him, it'll be better for them. But there's a part of me that says pause. Okay, you don't have a GM there yet.
Right.
Steve Mills is running the show there, and he's a GM. He's good at what he does, but you're gonna bring in somebody new. And David Griffin, we just talked about, is the front runner for that job. Right now, he's the only guy who's done interviews so far. He's done a phone interview. He's gonna have something in person in the next week or two. You know what? You kind of want to have the guy who's going to be running the show make that big deal.
Right.
Okay? It should be done in the way he wants to do it.
And would it be so absurd to actually think about keeping Carmelo Anthony? I mean, the guy.
Syracuse, I don't know.
Well, no, but there's the thing. You are one, not only just for the sake of Melo, you won't get back the same type of player, most likely. If you do, then you're getting pieces, and then you're kind of in a rebuild mode.
Right.
And we're talking about the 7-year D-Day, right? Kristaps Porzingis is on that as well.
He's on that timeline.
And do you think he wants to spend the next year being a somewhat competitive team in the Eastern Conference, or pushing, kicking the can down the road?
So what kind of Melo do they get, though? Is he going to be fully engaged now that Phil's gone? Is he going to play offense and defense? Is he going to play the system that Hornacek wants to play, which is up and down, running the ball moves? It's not a triangle. But it's a fast-paced offense.
Well, why not give it a shot?
And by the way, if you're Carmelo Anthony, you say, what are the two teams he named? Cleveland and Houston. They're not playing slow down, hold it basketball either. They play pretty up-tempo as well. So either way, there's an adjustment to happen. I'm with both of you guys. If I'm the Knicks, there's no reason to rush into this. You can take your time and see what the lay of the land is like. Let's move on to the Thunder. Russell Westbrook's future remains up in the air, but OKC isn't standing idly by. Last week, they traded for Paul George, and then this week, Andre Robertson agreed to a 3-year, $30 million deal to remain with the team. I can't believe I'm asking this. Dave, do you think OKC has done enough to convince Westbrook to stay long-term?
I mean, not for him to decide right today, but they did everything they possibly could to put their best foot forward and say, we care about you, we care about winning. We got the marquee guy this summer. Everybody wanted him, and we got him. That proves the type of franchise we're about.
It's kind of amazing that 1 year ago, I mean, it was almost to the day, right? So July 4th last year is when Kevin Durant leaves, and it took them less than a year to find a new star. Now, I know Paul George may not stay there. I know Russell Westbrook may not stay there. But the fact that they were able to do this in 1 year, and let's go back to some of the moves that allowed that to happen. Just locking up Oladipo on that contract, okay? It's not a good contract. But the fact that they did that and then had cost certainty with him in a way that they could flip him to Indiana and they could take a chance on the Hoosier coming home. Maybe he can resurrect his career. And getting Sabonis in the draft day trade for Serge Ibaka. The way that they made those moves just a year out set them up to be able to make a move like this. And I think, you look at small market franchises, when somebody leaves, how long did it take Cleveland to recover after LeBron left the first time?
4 years.
I mean,
till he came back.
Well, till he came back. Okay? Most of the time when something like that happens, when Kevin Durant leaves your franchise, you are in the lottery for the next 5 years.
See, this is the thing about what I was mentioning in the monologue. You can do a lot of things right, and it still doesn't work out. I thought Dallas, when they won their championship, rather than lock in the Tyson Chandler, who was getting older, and lock in the Jose Juan Barea and those guys, they said, no, let's stay flexible because there are going to be stars coming up and we want to be able to get them. That wasn't a bad strategy. It just didn't work out because sometimes the chips don't fall the way you want them to do. Sam Presti, one of the things that pains me, and I use that very lightly, but it pains me that people say Sam Presti's a bum. This dude's one of the smartest.
People say that?
A lot of people say that. A lot of ignorant people say that, I should say, because
they bring up the Harden trade.
They bring up the Harden trade and they say you let go of Durant. But you don't look at all the good things that he did along the way to put themselves in these positions. And again, like you said, there were a lot of people lining up for Paul George with a lot better offers out there.
The other thing, we're not talking about this yet, okay? But we have a whole summer to get through show, right? We're going to be doing shows this whole summer. If Russell Westbrook does not commit, okay, he knows the money's not going anywhere. He's watching to see what they do. But, okay, they already did what they were going to do. They went and got you Paul George. So this summer, Russell's got to decide if he wants to sign that extension. If he signs it, now his next job is to keep Paul George there. If he doesn't sign it, oh boy.
It's like what side of the aisle are you standing on?
He shouldn't commit. Why would, if you were Russell Westbrook, would you commit now?
There's no
plus size to that.
Right?
You wait to see how you can actually play with Paul George. You wait to see if everybody stays healthy. You wait, all those mitigating factors. You wait, you push.
And then the Thunder gets more and more uncomfortable. Every day that goes by that you don't sign that deal.
They're already uncomfortable in that division, the toughest division in basketball this year. Speaking of Andre Robertson, we only mentioned him briefly. He's featured in our Summer League Distant Replay from this day in 2014.
3 years,
I'm so excited for this. Let's see, I haven't even seen this play. What is it? Oh, it's in Orlando, so we got the low camera angle.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, two-handed.
Yeah.
I like that.
Booty catch. That's what I see.
Woo. Oh, he just got out the way.
Is that Maurice Indor? Who is it? No, that's Philadelphia app. Live from Miami. It's time for Make or Miss. First up, Make Buckets. Markelle Fultz with the spin, step back, hezzy jumper, and yesterday's Summer League action. Ramona, we're excited to watch Fultz in the Sixers next season.
Yeah, I'm kind of into that. I've been watching a lot of that Summer League so far between him and Jason Tatum. Those rookies look good.
I can't wait for Saturday. Miss Buckets. Klay Thompson's in China, throwing off his handles, then chucks up an air ball. He also got rim checked by a 360 dunk attempt last week.
God, Klay.
And he was dancing. Dave,
it's not even close.
It's a time for Klay to come on home, man.
Didn't he ink a new deal with Ante while he was out there?
$80 million.
Yeah, so stay as long as you need to. Make sure those checks clear.
Like he said, he just got off the plane. Yeah, okay, it's been like a week. Is he still jet lagged?
I'm not mad at you. No, forget jet lag. That's money lag right there, like Dave said. Man. Spaghetti. Timothy Mozgov is holding some sort of rap battle at a KFC in Russia.
Yes.
Reminds me of my man Delonte West. Do you wish you could attend?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I would throw it down with him.
You've been around him. Does Timo have bars?
Yeah, he does. He has the confidence to pull it off. I don't know if he actually has the skill behind it, but he has the confidence.
Dude, Timo's kind of cool. I got to know him last year in LA.
Can he rap?
Yes.
He once told me
I'm just
in
saying
Russia,
that confidently because I believe
we
in
ride
him.
bears.
Nice.
What?
Yes.
Smith worries. The Cavs have no GM and have done absolutely nothing in free agency, but LeBron doesn't seem too bugged about it on his vacation. Dave, you think LBJ is actually a little peeved?
He is. He absolutely is. But he doesn't let it dominate his life.
Right.
Go live your life, man. It looks beautiful.
He's rocking out to Michael Jackson in that.
And J. Cole.
Yeah.
Shout out to J. Cole.
And
The tour starts tonight in Phoenix. And this just in, at the buzzer. The Mavs are in the process of filing a 2-year, wait for it, $10 million deal with Dirk Nowitzki.
Total or
according
per
to
year?
Tim McMahon.
Wow.
The second season of the deal will be a team option, the source said.
Dirk.
Ramona, how much did Dirk
This
cost
has got to
himself by
stop. I
declining his
mean,
option?
unless they have some kind of like consultancy lined up for him after he retires.
Don't put that evil out there.
$5 million a year consultancy. I mean, come on, stop, Dirk. Just get Mark Cuban's money, man.
Yeah, I don't like it. You deserve more, Dirk. You deserve more.
Maybe he'll host the European version of Shark Tank when he retires. You know,
The
pay him a lot.
German Shark Tank.
Is this going to help the Mavs win a title the next 2 years?
Probably
No,
not.
it's just going to help Mark
But you know what? Look, I like the message that it sends that he's like, look, I don't care as long as this keeps helping the team.
Being taken advantage
You
of.
pay me on the back end. Thanks a lot, Dave. Ramona,
watched
you're
that
going to be in
European
Vegas
Shark Tank.
tomorrow.
I'll see you there.
Dave, you'll be back here
Yes,
with me, right?
for sure.
All right, we'll do the show again. And